Want to know where you're most likely to get hit by a car while walking on the street? Well, for starters, it's intersections, by far. I dug into the most recent ICBC data to find out which intersections are the worst in BC and why. The info is from 2019 to 2023. It shows that every one of the province's top 50 bad intersections is in the Lower Mainland. 23 are in Vancouver, 19 in Surrey, and then it's a big drop down to Richmond with 3. Coquitlam and Delta with 2 each. Finally, Burnaby, White Rock, Port Coquitlam, and Abbotsford all make the list with 1. There's an obvious trend with most of these intersections. They're busy. There's a lot of people on foot and plenty of vehicle traffic. 15 of the top 50 are near SkyTrain stations. 4 of them are along Hastings Street in Vancouver, with 3 in the downtown east side: Carroll Street, Abbott, and Main. Main and Hastings tops the list by far, with 49 pedestrians struck over a 5-year period.
It's heartbreaking, right? When we hear about, a serious injury or fatality.
Already here, officials have lowered the speed limit to 30 and introduced what's known as leading pedestrian intervals, or LPIs. Basically, it means the crosswalk starts 3 to 5 seconds before the light changes for vehicles. And yet, the rate of pedestrian collisions remains high.
We're potentially going to be looking at additional markings at Main and Hastings as well to try and improve, the crossing at that particular location.
And what about Surrey? 19 of the worst intersections for pedestrians are in the city.
I think there's a lot of work that we need to do. We are one of the fastest growing cities in Canada. We're retrofitting a city. It's a city that used to be more car-oriented and is becoming a lot more urban.
Villarreal says of Surrey's top 19 worst intersections, 7 have already seen changes since 2023. There's plans for 4 more, and several will be addressed through TransLink's rapid transit bus project.
When there's a collision, probably myself and a lot of my engineers, they get an email saying there was a collision, here is the video, here is what happened, and then we try to see what can we do to mitigate those situations.
Engineers have software to help them analyze factors like time of day, vehicle type, and driving behavior. But for road safety advocates, what's already happening isn't enough.
It's hard to hear that they're on it and then see year after year not seeing any significant improvements.
Buchanan describes the situation as frustrating, with more money spent on studying the problem or pilot projects instead of just making changes.
I would plead with them to use what little resources they have to focus on things that are high impact and focus education on educating about solutions, not educating in a way that is blaming victims.
There's enforcement, education, and then engineering. Design interventions could include things like reduced speed limits, different turn controls, raised crosswalks, more paint, and the LPI signal delay. Villarreal adds better lighting to the list. Chow adds longer walk times and curb extensions. Chow says in Vancouver, it's a balance of keeping traffic moving, keeping pedestrians safe, and limited resources. There, like in Surrey, there's a goal of getting to 0 traffic fatalities, but it's not clear when that goal could be achieved.
Is that achievable? It's really hard. A lot of times we can do all the engineering in the world and still some fatalities or severe injuries are going to happen.
Each year, some of the province's most dangerous intersections get safety improvements, but at the same time, there are more cars, trucks, and people on the road, leaving dozens of people on foot being struck and killed. Rafferty Baker, CBC News, Vancouver.